Okay, so yeah, intentions for the call and agenda topics. I don't have any intentions for the call other than to just make it easy for you guys to check in. Oh, and I guess the agenda is just check on Ben if he has access to the server. And also would love to hear an update on illustrations if there's any. And I guess, of course, hearing from Andrew, but I imagine that'll be your agenda topic, Andrew. So that's me. I'll pass it to Andrew.
Hi, folks. My agenda for this call is basically to say that before I am going to write this thing, I have to figure out how to use this network X thing, because that's the thing that's actually doing the graph. And that might take some time. Just wondering, like, do I have to do it just like the cadCAD 3 Python notebook, or can I like make up my own thing that doesn't use the graph? Because the graph is going to take some time to figure out how to use it.
The NX graph, right?
Yeah, the NX graph.
Here, we'll put that on the agenda.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's
yes.
put it in the agenda.
And do you have other agenda topics, Andrew?
Not really. I'll pass it to Sam.
Okay. The intention for the call to, I guess it is the same than the point in the agenda. We have a demo in Rinkevi for conviction voting, and I would like to share that with you and see how I can help, because on the progress on Commons Stack, on the Commons Simulator. I could not do anything last week, and this week I think I can do a little bit more, but I'm still like a little bit busy on the Aragon application. But the positive side of that is that we have that already on Rinkevi and we can test it.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well then, let's just start with the short ones. Did you have a chance to talk with Ben at all, Sam?
With whom?
With Ben. He said he needed access to the server to finish something.
I have access here. I can create him a user and send it to him. I still didn't do that, but I think that it's I have two virtual machines. One is for production things, and the other one is for testing. And I think that the common simulator is in this one. Let me check that right now.
Oh, hey,
and I can give access to him to this one.
Okay. Well, okay, that's perfect. And then
yes, it is in this one. So he can. I don't think that there is anything else important in here, because it's for doing, I don't know, for doing demos and for doing. I can give him access.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's just pause and let Max say hi. Hey, Max, welcome to the party.
Hey guys, and Julia.
Hello, Max.
Did you have any agenda topics that you want to cover? Did you want to check?
Yeah, just wanted to check out what's happening.
Okay, nice. Okay, so then Sem, do you have illustrations update?
Yes, Nyankat is ill. Has been ill for 1 week and or so, or 1 week and a half, and I told her, okay, when you are better, we can talk again. This is the update from her. She last picture she did, I think, is the one that I sent to you, I believe. Let me check it out again. But yeah, she didn't begin with the participants one. And I don't know if I shared that with you. I can share the screen.
Well, I don't know where it went. I don't see it. Oh, there it is.
This is the one that she did at the end.
Yeah.
And yeah, the community protocols and resources is bigger right now. It is still not clear what it is. She is going to work on that.
The resourcer is missing an R after the SOU.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Her English is a little tough, that's for sure. But we can correct these things.
Yes. And yeah, that's the idea of how it will be. This is a caixa hub, by the way.
Yeah. Both Sam and
And
I actually spoke there, and it looks just like this. So it's pretty good, pretty nice.
I don't know if you, Max, have seen the other pictures. Do you want to see them, Max?
I would appreciate a link where I can,
Okay, they are
get into the
actually.
context, but don't waste your time. Just go ahead.
This is the time matching one. It's like at the end we are going with this set of colors. This was too holy.
Oh,
oops. Oops. I think that we cannot erase that from the video.
I didn't see it. I missed it. But here I can. I don't have the most updated ones, but I can share a screen and just talk about a couple things that on the design side of things that Max might find interesting, just to give an overview. So this is. Which screen do you guys see? You see the Google Doc?
No, the HackMD.
Okay, there we go. So this is in our radical exchange narrative, which I can send a link to. I'll just send it right now, freshly in the DDev channel. So the idea is that we start with an illustration right there. She lands in the alley, and then we talk about how she came from the future. We use dark colors for the future. Then there's text, and then we have this character illustration, which will change. She'll be more surprised when she sees herself in the mirror. It's that moment where it's like, whoa, I'm in someone else's body moment. And then there's some text, and then we have this the illustration that Sam just showed with her at the meetup. This was a previous attempt, but we revised it, so it could be the other one where we're talking about the commons. It's about the relationships between the protocols, the community, and the resource. And then we have this cadCAD illustration, where cadCAD is it's something that no one else can see besides the character. So it's kind of this thread of like, every time the character needs to input something in cadCAD, she needs to make an excuse about going to the bathroom or something, kind of like a thread through the story. And then we're gonna have a we're gonna combine an illustration with the choice. So we're gonna have a layered illustration of how many hatchers you are. And so you're gonna move this bar or something of the sort. So, and then you'll see a layered picture. And like when you only want 3 people, then you'll only see 3 people. If you want to see more, if you want 10 people, then the picture will change and layers will appear that have more people in them. And that will be a selection tool for the number of hatchers. We were thinking the same for the number of proposals. So it's like a selection tool that's actually an illustration, a layered illustration. And then we haven't really worked on anything past that. There's funding pool illustrations, defining the exit tribute illustration, the price illustration, conviction voting illustrations, which we're gonna have some kind of graphical timeline of. We need a threshold picture, but as you can see, there's a lot more work going into the illustrations, and unfortunately, Nyan Cat has been ill for a little bit, so we'll have to. We're kind of on it's kind of a slow step there, but yeah, and then we're staying with the same story as before, where the person gets the 2 charts at the end, and they have to decide if the charts are good enough to move on to and actually submit them to the high score. And if they are, then they submit their high scores and they can go to Leap 2, which we're just now starting on the narrative for Leap 2. And yeah, then the high scores. And so the big idea was that the current designs don't fit with fewer illustration and more text. So we are hoping we're basically just waiting for the illustrations to get a little bit more complete. But one of the required steps is eventually, before the front end gets started, they will need some sort of like design, like a mock-up of like, a header, a footer, pictures and text. And it doesn't have to be like, here's all the pictures, here's all the text, but just one screen that kind of shows what the screen should look like. And with the knowledge that you will be scrolling for phones and computers, you'll just have an infinite scroll. That was our assumption. I mean, obviously we're open to other ideas, but on a phone, it would be really hard for this turn the page thing to match with and we want to go for a mobile first development, so that, because we've assumed Twitter will be our #1 outlet. So yeah, that's our thoughts on the design side of things. That's most applicable to Emacs. I don't know if you have any feedback on that.
Well, I wanted to highlight if this will be well first, then you probably will want to have vertical illustrations, right? If you want them to fill the entire screen, and except for the browser tab, navigation bar, and tab, then most likely they should be vertical. So to achieve more immersive and process, because if you will have this landscape orientation of the illustrations, you will have these black things, or if at least they will be not that small. Even if you will, work with them as a bricks inside of the infinite scrolls, the landscape pictures will be smaller, right? Because they will be tied to the width of the screen rather than the height.
Right now they're assumed to be squares. However, we could probably make them.
I mean, it's just a thought, but if I were to prioritize a platform, mobile first, as you're saying that your main channel of user acquisition would be through the Twitter, that makes sense completely. Then to maximize the this UX effect. So this whole game and illustration manner, telling the narrative in that way, it's by default should be immersive as much as possible. And it will not be that great if the user will have to zoom in to the picture, because it's square or it's landscape, and the text would be tiny. So right, if you want to go with mobile first, I would say that portrait orientation of the picture would fit better for sure.
The portrait is vertical or horizontal?
Vertical.
And what do we do? Do you think that if the pictures from now on are vertical, but the old ones are like squares because they are already
yeah, that's just my it's just what I saw. It's I don't know if it's possible or it will even make sense to adjust and adopt these existing illustrations already, but the layout, I already said what I'm thinking. It still will be okay because most of the projects and people are not bothering with such, because usually you don't have this dedicated prioritized platform to the most, right? You're trying to fit in a best case UX to the two worlds where you have the desktop users, you have mobile users, but in a case where this is an MVP and to fit environments and the user acquisition is crucial, I would spend a little bit of effort to adjust this illustration and provide more and more immersive journey of the user through the comic book rather than saving some time but providing a common UX where people used to this. It's nothing bad, but it can be better. This is what I want to say.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of the pictures, they should be extended. I don't think it'd be that hard to extend some of the pictures. Like the alley picture, just make the sky bigger. Like it's not. But some of them, like the Hatcher and the proposals pictures that are being worked on, they should definitely be squares because they'll need to like also be able to use the bar underneath it to adjust. So I think it's something that we can play with, and I think it's good advice.
Yeah, I also think that I would prioritize to finish the illustrations and have that in mind, and then if we can retake the whole design, I mean, I would prioritize having an MVP, even if it is with squares, but having in mind that maybe in the future it should be portrait.
Yeah, I would love to just have the wireframe type picture that she had right now for this meetup, for instance. She could just stop that and go on to the next one, and just if we just had the wireframe type drawings for all of them and we could see it holistically and didn't finish any of the rest of them, I think that would be super amazing,
Yeah, I think that too. And I actually, we already talked about that it will be better first to do the board, how is it called, storyboard, but then it was a bit difficult because the narrative was not ready yet. We prefer to go with the first illustrations first.
That's cool. Well, yeah, in the narrative,
but we can retake that idea of doing the full storyboard.
At least the storyboard until conviction voting. I mean, conviction voting, I think, is the only piece that might still be questionable on the narrative. But there's a lot of pictures before that still.
So I just want to mention that the Commons stack has a bunch of Figma repositories, which holds a lot of elements of the design system. So it's not really hard. I personally don't have much time to do that my own, but there is a design system elements that can be worked with, and some of the, from someone from the community can easily go to the Figma, grab it. It's pretty much, a couple hours work to create this backbone of the template of the future website. If you want to go mobile first, just decrease the width. For example, you can just copy and paste the mobile representation of the commonsstack.org, right? You can delete all of the content, leave the header and footer, and just play. It's already long enough, so you can just throw in some illustrations and you will have your basically wireframed ready for your meeting.
Okay.
Where is those Figma?
So I guess Griff has all of the access. So, or Jeff, if I remember correctly, I transferred the ownership of all Figma repositories which I created to Jeff Emmett.
Oh, cool.
Okay,
Yeah, and I
we
think
will ask him.
Chris is generally the organized one. So yeah.
Maybe I'm not gonna bet to whom I transferred this. It was someone from the trusted sea.
Yeah, it was probably Jeff, but then like he might.
Yeah.
The easiest person I know for sure if Jeff
The
had
point
it.
is that the community can utilize already created design assets. There is a UI kit for wireframing already in there. You just grab it, copy and paste it, just basically drag and drop work. And this is it. Probably if someone is volunteering to do this work, feel free to reach out to me via Telegram. I will guide you a little bit. Yeah, not a problem.
Okay, thank you so much. This is very good to know that those resources exist.
Yeah, I just asked them in the comms channel and tagged you some, so I'm sure it'll come there.
Okay.
Well, let's see what's the next on the agenda. Does anyone have it? I can't find my tabs. There they are. Network X. Andrew, what's this? Is it, what's it called? Is it NX graph or is it the graph?
Yeah, it's nx.digraph. And I don't know much about it. And I'm not sure if to construct a whole simulation if you want me to spend the time to understand it, to make the OO thing like work with the network graph, or you want me to make a simple like cadCAD example that doesn't use a network graph.
That network, just to give a little bit of context, that graph is, well, it's a graph in which the nodes are the participants and the proposals, and the edges are the support that participants has on proposals, the influence that participants have between each one, and the conflicting the other kind of edge is the conflict that one project have with another one. So, and this is more or less random. It is an initial graph that is generated in order to do the cadCAD simulation.
It's not something that's needed for the vesting though, right? The vesting doesn't have to interact with that.
It doesn't.
Okay. So then,
but cadCAD, the cadCAD simulation is, and all the policies are updating that graph. It's like the state of the simulation. How much proposals there are, which proposals pass, and all that. That's the state of.
So then, like, it might actually need to interact with it because it'll say how many tokens there are that are vested or not.
No,
yeah,
that part. But that part doesn't affect the part of the proposals or the participant. Actually, only the participants nodes. I mean, each participant have an amount of tokens, and they can be vested or locked. So the part of the hatch only affects on that thing, in the amount of available tokens that each participant has.
So then he'll need to figure out how to update that network X graph then. Oh, at least
if you, I don't know, Andrew, if you want to, I think that you can leave the graph as it is and use the skeleton of the object-oriented programming using that in order to update that graph And the only thing that you only have to update the amount of tokens that each participant have, because the proposals, I guess that you are not going to have an object for proposals or an object for support, the support that each participant gives to a proposal or the influence that they have between them. So I think that this part can be let as it is. And the only thing from the objects is to update the tokens that each participant have, I think.
Oh, wait. So yes, I should make it work with the network X thing.
The network X thing is the state of the cadCAD. So I don't know if you want to continue with the simulation as it is, or you want to change it, because in the last call, not in the common simulator calls on Thursday, you say that you wanted to do the cadCAD simulation with the object, do something with object-oriented programming with cadCAD, which was not really for the.
No, I mean, I said I wanted to use my objects with cadCAD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Then if you want to do something with the how participants interact with each other, and what is the interest that a participant have on a proposal, you should use that graph, I guess, because it's already there and you can check it out to see how it can be done. And if not, if you are doing another kind of simulation, then you don't have to. I think that in order to use cadCAD and all the interesting things that cadCAD can do, like the Monte Carlo and all that things, we need to add some randomness to the simulation, and that randomness is given by the participants. So in some sense, that network thing is something that is used in many cadCAD simulations. For example, in Robots and Marvels, I think that it is the tutorial 4 or tutorial 5, I don't remember right now. It is a network of robots. So, and this is how, this is one of the use case in which cadCAD can be used. I don't know if you are thinking on something else.
No, I was just wondering if I should make a simple one or if I should make a complex example with the network graph. That's all. So I'm gonna make a complex one with the network graph.
I think that's prudent. Did you have more on that, Andrew, or did you have any other updates that you want to give us on the cadCAD? So I definitely want to make sure we have time for the Rinkeby conviction voting demo too.
I don't have anything else. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm excited. I'm sure Max will actually also like to see conviction voting working.
Okay, I go with that. Okay.
Yeah.
I am wondering if you have some Ethereum account.
Yeah, you want us to just pass you some Ethereum account addresses?
Yes, yeah, and I can assign you some honey or something.
Oh, we get some honey. Okay, we'll just pass it in the DDEV channel. Oops.
Yes. You are watching my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does anyone else want to play with this DAO? Just send them an address in the DDEV channel.
Okay, by the way, this is the conviction voting application. You have many proposals here, and they are requesting a certain amount of honey, which is the token that can be used in order to fund those proposals. And you have the conviction growing on here. And the idea is that there are two tokens in the system. There is the honey, which is used to fund proposals. We have 700 honey. And for example, that proposal is requesting just 1 honey. This proposal is requesting 10 honey. And that proposal is requesting 100. And depending on how much they are requesting, the threshold is different. For example, at least you need a 5% of the conviction to request for 1 honey. But when you are requesting for 100 honey, that conviction is much higher. It's 53%. And when you have OCTs, which can be obtained with honey, on the fundraising application, it is a bonding curve. And as you can see, many people has introduced honey and they have received some OGTs. I don't know.
What's OGT stand for? Is it the Ostrom token or?
No, organization token.
Okay.
It is very demo.
Okay.
But it could be Ostrom tokens. And well, you can see how people has been claiming introducing some honey and getting some OGTs, but it can also be the other side, the other direction. You can sell OGTs or burn OGTs in order to get honey. Okay. And once you have OGTs, I am going to give you some honey or some OGTs. I don't know. I guess that.
Hey everyone, gotta run. It was nice to see you all. Feel free to reach out if you need something. Have fun.
Thanks, Max.
Okay. Well, there is that honey DAO in which you can request some honey. Let's see if I can give you 100 honey.
Can you also paste a link to the DAO I should go to?
Maybe you can share your screen and request some honey using the bonding curve.
Yeah. I'll try.
You should have received some honey, so you should be able to, and you have to go into the honey DAO. Sorry, no, not the honey DAO.
Where do I?
The test garden DAO. I am sharing it in the bidder.
Excellent. Switch to here.
Which is your address?
839.80.
Okay. I don't know why I didn't send you any honey.
I didn't get the honey.
No, you didn't get the honey.
Well, let's see. Maybe it's just
I am sending it again. I think
oh,
that
no, I got it a minute ago. I got it a minute ago. Oh, I needed. Oh, I don't know.
Okay,
So,
you have you now have 200 honey.
I'm rich. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go. I don't know.
Yeah, in my orders, you can request for some OGTs.
Oh, maybe I need to refresh.
It will be when we have front end for that. It will be much easier.
Dude, yeah, for sure. I do not. I don't want anyone to ever use Aragon. I'm sorry. It's just it says I have 200 balance. It's just not. It's just not worth it. It's like it's cool that it has a. It's. I feel like this is. Wow, geez, that's a lot of gas. I feel like this is the command line interface. You know, like
yeah, like the admin mode.
yeah.
You still have to go to my orders and claim the OGTs because of the batch. I don't know what. There is a mechanism in which you get the same price as everyone else, and this is why you need 3 transactions. I guess that it's in my orders or in orders.
It probably just hasn't hit yet because it was quite the heavy.
It's okay.
That's right, big spender. I mean, it's asking
we
for.
are.
Look at the
Yeah,
gap.
we are.
I mean, that's a tough one. And usually, when you speed up the transactions, it kind of screws with.
The nonce or so.
It screws with the app. I mean, I'm sure Aragon is ahead of the game here, but looks like there's some people using Linkavir right now, pretty heavy. That's probably what delayed your transaction as well. And I really hope it doesn't. I'm excited to see how much gas this costs. Let's just put it that way. Because and this is why I don't know if OneHive's thinking about moving to XDAI anytime soon, but it'd be really nice.
Now, let's see if you can claim now. If not, you will be able to.
That's a much lower. It's a much lower gas amount than
the limit, right?
Yeah. Okay, so my orders claim.
And finally, you get the OGTs.
Yeah. And so then I can go to Conviction Buddy. I'm not sure I like that logo. Just gonna throw it out there.
Oh, I like the logo so much. Patty did that.
It's raining?
it is like, because it's like liquid that is, yes, it's like raining.
It should be a jail cell. It should be like bars, you know, like you're in prison because you're a convict. No?
We are talking too much about conviction voting, and at the end, Google is going to recommend us, or the whatever is going to recommend us a lot of, I don't know, penitentiary things or.
This is the voting for dark market DAOs, man.
Okay, you didn't receive the OGTs yet?
No.
Ah, okay, because it's you're not connected yet.
I refreshed.
Now. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know why you cannot execute that one yet. I don't know why. It should work, but it doesn't.
I can execute.
You can execute that, but let's see. It doesn't let you, and I don't know why yet.
That's
We have
exciting.
to check it.
Let's see this one.
This
Okay, so-
will pass in 4 days, but if you vote on that, probably it's going to be less time.
But I don't get to choose how much I vote on it. It's always still just 100%.
Not yet.
Okay.
Probably in the next milestone, we can add it. Now it's 2 days and 5 hours instead of 4. I don't know what do you think about it's maybe the prediction. It is getting the 100%, so it is not very clear what is going on, but at the same time it's not normalized because all the graphs are the same. So I don't know if it's clear or not.
You saw my very detailed GitHub comments on these issues. I have very strong opinions about how this about the percentage here, and this should be in the number. This should really be a bar till 10 honey, you know, and then it would be pretty obvious. In fact, you could get rid of this whole thing right here, and it would just be 1 bar, 10 honey. And it wouldn't be requested conviction progress. It would just be money progress, you know, like, no, this is what it takes. And then,
well, we can think on that. Yeah, we can think what we can do. The conviction progress is very useful because it allows you to compare between proposals, because all the proposals have its conviction. Its percentage conviction is always the same for all of them. If you put conviction on one proposal, you can reach 3% as soon as you reach 3% for another proposal. It doesn't vary, and I think that it's important to keep that way. But then yes, we have that threshold that is varying too.
I just completely disagree. I don't think someone cares that their voting tokens are always worth the same percent. In fact, it may be better information if they understand that if they support one proposal, then they're providing less money to that proposal than if they support another proposal that they could provide more money to. You know, I think that has, I mean, in the end, this is the whole point, right? You're doing the conviction thing to allocate funds. You're not doing it so you can use your tokens to get conviction percentage. Like, conviction percentage and threshold is just so not important to the actual, that's like background, you know, behind the scenes, fun math, dev, nerd stuff. But like, the real thing is I have voting power and I want to use it to allocate money, you know? So like, and then, yeah, like that's what you come here to do, you know? And then if you come here to do that, or it's important that they understand that's what they're doing, right? They're allocating funds out of the funding pool. Maybe it's a time of scarcity. Maybe they're like, oh wow, I don't want to allocate that much funds to this proposal. Like we need to share less money. In fact, I'm just going to not vote. because it's probably better for us right now. You know, it's like, I think it really gives so much more rich information.
Well, I think that we can think on that, because for the front end, I mean, as an Aragon application, it is super nice to be as it is right now. But for a front end, it can be more simplified. And I think that it has sense.
I mean,
Well,
in the end, what's in the Aragon app is like, no one should, I just can't imagine that this will work very well if anyone has to use it. You know, there should be an expectation that there will be a website for any serious project.
Yeah. Well, there is going to be two modes: the user mode and the admin mode. The DAO admin mode, and the DAO admin mode will be the one who is using the Aragon application.
Yeah, exactly. And then
And in
the other thing that, you know, since you're walking into my line of fire here, my very strong opinions on conviction voting, I would love to get rid of the threshold and just have, again, it's like how close you get to the total capacity. Because we could get rid of, you know, we could get rid of the idea of conviction altogether, conviction and threshold, and just have it be like, this is tracing the amount of funds over time and having a normal price graph, right?
Meanwhile, it is in the front end, not in the Aragon app. We are fine.
Yes, that might be for the front end. That might just be for the front end. And it, like I said, it doesn't need to be an MVP, but I think it will be very important. The thing that I do hope gets in the MVP is that we track the history of the threshold.
Yes.
So
this is also that it is something that I also have in mind.
Nice.
Also, the threshold is changing so fast that it can be gamed, because imagine that you have, I don't know, 50% of conviction and the threshold is 60%. What you can do, because if you unstake the tokens, your conviction is still there. It is going to decrease slowly.
Yeah.
But you can make the threshold go low very quick if you burn your tokens, because then the supply is less and then the threshold is less. So this is the point. That
and if there's an exit tribute, you're also adding funds to the funding pool, which also increases the threshold. So you have a double edge there. You have it twice, making it easier. But isn't that,
excuse me?
Is that okay?
Well, maybe we have to. Can you repeat that part?
So with the exit tribute, then you're also adding funds to the funding pool, which also decreases the conviction. Of course, decreases the threshold, which is probably okay. That side for sure is okay. Hey, if you want to donate to the funding pool so that this thing goes through, more power to you, right? Like, yeah, do it. However, burning your tokens to make sure that goes through, that is not okay, right?
Yeah.
That's not behavior that we want to incentivize, because that's not good for the commons.
Not also. It's the problem is that it's gameable. It can be an attack. So maybe we can think on a workaround about that. Maybe to show conviction depending on the supply, and part of that is maybe conviction can have. Well, actually, conviction is already part of the supply. I mean, the amount of conviction depends on the amount of tokens that there are, or that there has been. So maybe with that, we're fine.
Yeah, it might cancel out. The thresholding conviction might cancel out.
The problem is the previous amount of conviction. Maybe at the end, what we need to do is to normalize conviction depending on the supply. So maybe we have to rethink a little bit some parts because the supply can change, and then we have to rethink a little bit how conviction is calculated. But yeah, I think that we went to the nerdy part of the things.
Yeah.
And the demo is done.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I just bought into a bonding curve and then voted on conviction voting. Holy shit. Holy shit. Right? I just wasted my vote on a vote that will never go through, but that's okay.
No, it's going to be. It's in 2 days.
I switched it and voted on the 100 honey one. I mean, maybe you know what? I might just go around and start trying to get some honey so I can buy more OGT and get more honey, 100 honey for testing. I want it. We deserve it.
But we could do something that is not just testing. I don't know what. I mean, it can also be used in order to prioritize ideas. Have you seen that?
Yeah, well, I haven't seen it as a demo, but of course I saw the 3 options or the 3 use cases for conviction voting. And I also like the idea of changing the names for each one and honestly making each one its own app. But no, we only have 2 minutes and I do have another call after this. So
yeah, okay. Let me show in just 1 minute. This is how it looks like, and this doesn't have the threshold. This is how it looks like. So right now, payroll is much more prioritized than the rest. Well, gardens and payroll are in the same 6%. That's how it looks like. Maybe we can do something like that in Commons Stack, but we talk about that in the future.
Yeah. This is cool.
Okay, I am going to talk with Ben in order to give him access.
Awesome. Thank you. Is there any other action steps for anybody? I need to push Danny on the narrative. She's told me she would have a tough time the next couple of weeks, but those couple of weeks are now done. So yeah, I'll push the narrative forward.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for coming, Andrew, Juliet.
Great demo. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.